All right, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Nyx. I am an astrologer and a tarot reader, as well as a practicing witch and ceremonial magician. Today, I wanted to talk about 3 mistakes that I made as a baby witch. Number 1, not protecting or drawing circles before doing any magical workings. So in the beginning, I would just light some sage and cleanse the area before doing a magical working, which is great. Cleansing is important, but I wouldn't draw a circle or protect the space before doing magical workings to prevent new energies from coming in. So basically, when you start doing any kind of energy work or magical workings, it's a beacon, it's a lighthouse for spirits and entities of all kinds to be like, oh, this person is trying to connect with our world, they're trying to connect to our side, and they want to communicate. Which, I mean, if your goal is to work with spirits, work with benefic entities, then cool. But when you're doing any kind of magical working and you don't have that specific intention and you're not protecting, you're going to be attracting all kinds of entities, the good ones and unfortunately the malefic ones too. And then if you're not, it's doubly bad if you're not cleansing or banishing after the magical working too, because then you're drawing in all these entities and they're just hanging out because they see you as a person that's, working with that realm or working in between realms rather. So they're gonna, stick around for a little while and see what's up. So how this negatively impacted me as a baby witch is I would, in the beginning of my practice, get constant night terrors. I was constantly waking up in sleep paralysis and seeing the sleep paralysis demons and shadows and everything scurrying all over the room. And, I'd gotten them, a few times in my lifetime, but after I started practicing witchcraft, it became, it was very often. It was very often. It was like every other night I would wake up in sleep paralysis. And from listening to other people, it's actually really common as a baby witch because you're still learning, you're still drawing an energy and working with energy without, fully knowing the impact that it has. You're still experimenting, you're still working with energy and figuring stuff out. So night terrors is actually pretty common as a baby witch, especially if you're not protecting. The other thing that happened is paranormal encounters. I had never had, well, I shouldn't say never, there maybe was once or twice, but I hadn't really had any paranormal encounters until I started witchcraft, and it was probably a month or 2 after I had started spellcrafting. So there was one night that I was in bed. I was living with my partner at the time. So I was in bed and I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw my partner just standing on his side of the bed, just standing up staring at me while I'm laying down. And I propped myself up, just kind of looked at him like really confused. And then he scooted backwards and melted into the wall and just became a shadow. That obviously wasn't my partner. I looked down and I saw my actual partner laying there next to me sound asleep. So whatever entity or shadow person that was impersonating my partner at the time. So that freaked me out a little bit. Other paranormal encounters that I had, I did have a desktop computer in my bedroom at the time, and in the middle of the night, it would randomly wake up and start playing YouTube videos. My partner said that it was some kind of, energy surge, electrical issue, something computer related, I don't know. But I mean, that didn't seem normal. I mean, computers don't just wake up on their own and click into a browser and start playing YouTube videos. That's not normal. So yeah, my first mistake as a baby witch was not protecting myself, not drawing energy shields, not having protective talismans or any of that kind of stuff, or drawing circles when I did magical working. So if you're a baby witch out there, don't skip on the circle casting, don't skip on protection. It is very important to only keep in the energy that you're trying to draw in and keep out the negative or malefic entities that might be drawn to you from your magical working. So along those same lines, the second mistake I made as a baby witch was not keeping up with the recharging of my energy shields or physical objects such as talismans and amulets. So I didn't know this starting out, but when you charge an object or you cast an energy shield, it's not a one and done thing. If you want them to stay charged and hold that energy, you actually have to continuously recharge them. It's kind of like a phone battery. Like if you want your phone to continue working, you have to recharge it. Or you as a human being, you have to sleep and recharge your batteries to wake up with new energy. So in order to keep that energy in an object or in an energetic shield, you have to keep recharging it. For example, my protective energy shields that I cast, I recharge those on a semi-daily basis, actually. I try to do it every night before I go to bed. Now, with physical objects such as talismans and amulets, with continued use and continuous recharging, those will eventually be able to hold a imprint or fragment of that energy. And I've heard them referred to as relics. So eventually, with continued use and continued recharging, a physical object can become a quote-unquote relic. But yeah, if you want your talismans, amulets, physical objects, crystals to keep performing at their highest function for their intended purpose, you do have to periodically recharge them. And finally, the third mistake I made as a baby witch, and this one is very common, a very, very common mistake. It's not being specific enough with your spells. And there are probably hundreds of YouTube videos out there of stories about people not being specific enough in spells and it causing them to backfire. So with my personal experience, one of the first spells that I cast was a money spell. I was a college student at the time. I was broke. I was paying my bills, but like I wanted, just a little bit of extra money to be financially comfortable. So I cast a money spell. So basically, it was a candle spell, and the spell was just money comes easily and freely to me for the good of all and harming none, of course. It wasn't specific because I've also heard on the other side of that being too specific limits your opportunities, because you might have something come to you, you might have an opportunity come to you that was unexpected. So you don't want to be too specific, like I need $75 coming to me from my place of employment tomorrow. Like it's too specific to the point that you're not allowing that, money to come from maybe another source. But also, if you're not specific enough, that money can come from a place that you don't want it to. So in my particular instance, I cast the spell, and maybe a week or so later, it wasn't that long, it was less than a week, I started getting more and more overtime at work. And, being a tired college student at the time, between classes and homework and also working full time on top of that, overtime was just exhausting. It wasn't how I wanted to get extra money, but it worked. And to be perfectly honest, there most definitely could have been worse ways to get money. So, I can't really complain, but I definitely wish I was maybe just a little more specific on how to get that money and not just broadly saying money comes freely to me for the good of all, harming none. Yeah, so basically in spellcasting, be specific, but not too specific, because you don't want to cut off potential opportunities, but you also don't want that intention coming from somewhere you don't want it to. So yeah, I hope that made sense. So yeah, those were the 3 main mistakes that I made as a baby witch. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.